about something because I'm a very passionate person. So
Right.
I fell in love the minute even went to that game. And then when I went to campus, it was amazing. And then it just so happened that they had the biggest broadcast production.
Hmm.
They had 81 students. The next biggest school was Florida, I think, and they had 8. So
Oh my
it was
goodness.
amazing opportunity to work with SEC Network and ESPN. So I just came here to get away from LA. It was too crazy there, and Florida was wide open. I would sit on ESPN Women's Summits every day on my laptop and just try and stay in it, try and keep networking. I mean, I never stopped. I was really, really in it. Then I was like, you know what? I don't know why I'm sitting here. I realized that in the broadcast world, I'm sure a lot of places are like this. I mean, your whole career is riding on whether this man at the top wants to give you this job or not. I can't stand relying on other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of had a breakdown during COVID and I was like, am I really just going to keep doing this and just keep hoping that, like, yeah, this is my moment. And then it goes to someone else for some political reason. And this is my moment. And then it goes to someone else for some other reason. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go shadow my friend in real estate. I'm going to reach out to her tomorrow. 30A I mean, it is heaven in America. If
Mm-hmm.
you look at the pictures, you don't think it's America. It looks like certain parts look like Europe, some parts look like the Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
There's different architecture for every town. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
21-mile stretch of scenic route 30A.
Did you know there's a technology that's actually an app on your phone that uses sound waves to tell your brain what you want your brain to do? We had a young man that was on a guest on our podcast, the Mike Litton Experience, who had a traumatic brain injury. He was sleeping 3 hours a night. He's using New Calm now and he's sleeping more. Go to newcalm.com, Mike15 promo code. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. Mike is passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
Brooke Kromer, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I'm super excited for our time together. And like we talked about before we hit record, everybody has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. So with your permission, we're going to start with where you were born, go up to today, and then we want to talk about the amazing things you're doing and helping people invest in real estate and purchase real estate in the 30A area, which I told you I had to look up. I had it right.
Yes, I
Thanks again
love
for being
that.
here.
Thank you for having me. And I'm glad that more people are learning about the 30A area because as you saw, it's gorgeous. So I'm
It
glad you
really
looked it
is.
up.
It really is gorgeous, and it's done really, really well. You know,
Hmm.
it has done really, really well, and it's a beautiful area of Florida. It really is.
Yeah.
So where were you born?
I was born a long, long ways away from here. I was born in Oxford, Ohio. My dad was coaching for the Miami Redhawks at the time. He had went to college there, played there, and then out of college, coached there, and had my brother and I both right there on campus at
So
Miami of
Miami of
Ohio.
Ohio?
Yep, it's
Okay.
the college. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So I was born a coach's kid, thrown right into it. Had all of the football players as my big brothers looking out for me at all
Mhm.
times, and it was a beautiful life. All my family's from Ohio, so it was fitting that it all started there.
Yeah. I'm guessing your dad's a large guy.
He is 6'5", but skinny now. Was an
Oh, yeah.
offensive lineman, but right when he stopped playing, he stopped eating all of that crazy food to help him gain that weight. So he is very, very tall.
That's awesome. So you had shared before that he's the offensive line coach for the Bills, and
Yeah.
I can imagine he's just got to be a really big guy.
He is,
Um,
he just looks small compared to his players now.
gotcha.
They're like
Yeah,
300 pounds and they're like towering over him. One's 6'9", and it's wild. They're a
we
different species.
we all look small compared to them,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I'm only
Me
6'3",
especially.
like standing in a forest of giants, you know.
Exactly.
So, so growing up, what was your favorite thing about you? You guys moved around a lot, it sounds like.
Yep.
What was your
Every 3
favorite
years.
thing about growing up, all the places you grew up?
I loved that I got to experience all of these different cultures. I think a lot of people don't realize how many different cultures there are in America.
Mhm.
Every place we lived, I mean, we lived in a Indian culture, Jewish culture, like all of these different cities that we were in, wherever the school was or the NFL team was, that was the community we lived in. We just wanted to be close to the facility where the good schools are. So I grew up when we lived in California, it was an Asian culture. So I would come back home from school and be like, "Mom, I want these snacks." And she's like, coming from Ohio, she had never heard of any of these snacks. So it was a fun experience because of course, you have the football side of it, which is amazing. And you get to be around all of these incredible organizations and very successful people from a young age, but also just the cultures of all of the different towns, especially like New Orleans. I was there in my high school years. So it was fun to see that culture in itself is amazing and insane all at
Really
the same
cool.
time.
Really
But
cool.
yeah, it was very special getting to move around America, especially to now see all the different areas, know what they're about, and now it helps me in real estate because I can help guide people where to live, and it was very fun.
That's awesome. So so growing up, who was the most influential person to you?
Huh. It's definitely a tie between my mom and my dad. We moved, and every time we moved, we only had each other
Mhm.
because you're thrown into this whole another world, basically, a new team, new schools. So I always leaned on my brother. I always leaned on my parents. So I'm really, really close with my parents. But my mom made every move so special. It was always, we don't have to move to a new team. It was, we get to move to a new team,
Mhm.
so it was always exciting. It was always a new adventure. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have to leave all my friends. She would always look up what there was to do in the new town and say, look what we get to do in this town now. So she always made everything really special, especially at a young age where you don't really understand why you're moving or,
Mhm.
that it's really means something to your family that you would pick up and move. So she was very intentional about our moves
That's
always.
awesome. So it promoted closeness in your family because you're kind of
Exactly.
on an island, right? You're kind of dropped in the middle of all these strange places, and
Yeah. It
that's
was it
awesome.
was wild, but I'm so close with my family and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
We always lean on each other for everything. I call my mom all the time still, call my dad every chance that I can actually get a word in between meetings or training camp. We just had our 5 weeks during the summer together, so it was really special time. It is every summer he gets 5 weeks off, so we spend that time together and it's always special.
And you
Even still at
cherish it,
this
right?
age.
You cherish it because the rest of the year he's gone, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's a real labor intensive thing in terms of the amount of hours they have to spend and invest
Absolutely.
in what they're doing. It's a big deal.
It was.
So so in high school, did you have a favorite subject?
Oh, well, I love to talk. So I always loved writing. I was a sports reporter before this and a sports host. I still do a little bit of hosting for DraftKings and all of the FTN networks. So I always loved to speak. I've always loved to write scripts. So I would say definitely English class was always my favorite. I was writing stories and winning awards all the time. So of course I loved that because I was good at it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So did you have a favorite teacher in high school?
I did. Miss Sandoz in 7th grade, she was my English teacher, of course,
Mhm.
but she just was outside the box and always wanting to know what we wanted to learn, and that was really cool to me because growing up, moving around so much, every school district was completely different. So
Yeah,
sometimes I would be ahead of everyone in the classes. Sometimes I would be
sometimes
really
behind.
behind.
Yeah.
So it threw off a lot of my education. I mean, of course, I got a great education because we would always try and get into the best schools in each area. But it was always hard because, I mean, even when I got to school at Texas A&M in college,
Mhm.
I was sitting there and everyone's from Texas. And so they were like, oh, you guys all studied the Alamo your whole lives. And I'm sitting there going, I know nothing about the Alamo.
Yeah.
Like, I
What's
know what
the
happened,
Alamo?
but yeah, I was like, what is going on?
Right, can somebody
So,
fill me in?
yes, that was the weird part was sometimes they would say things like, oh, everyone already knows this. You've been learning it for years. And I
Yeah.
would be like, Wait, no, not me.
Right.
I'm a transplant. I don't know where I'm from.
I
So
see.
that was kind of a curveball in life.
Absolutely. So you choose to go to Texas A&M from high school. Why Texas A&M?
So when my dad played, actually, he was coaching at Miami of Ohio when I was an infant. The
Mhm.
athletic director was Eric Hyman, an amazing person. Him and his wife were incredible. And fast forward, I'm going to college. I'm a junior in high school, and my brother was coaching at Oklahoma at the time, and they were playing A&M in the Cotton Bowl. And Eric Hyman was the athletic director at A&M.
Oh
So
my
we met up
goodness.
with him the night before the Cotton Bowl, and we were just sitting there chatting. And all of the A&M team walked by. It was Johnny Manziel, it was all of them. And I'm watching like all of these people freak out, like they're celebrities. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, okay, those are the type of people I love. I always loved football, and I
Mhm.
knew I had to work in football in some way.
Right.
So I was like, wow, just enamored. And then the next day I went to the game, and it was this little tiny OU section and all A&M fans because it was in Dallas. And
I remember that game.
it was crazy, and
Yeah.
once they started sawing varsity's horns off, everyone's got their arms
Mhm.
around each other swaying. I was like, "Okay, that's my school." And then the athletic director, Eric, was just telling me about the tradition and the little military aspect of things and how passionate everyone is about the school and the traditions, and I just felt so connected to that. I love when someone is really passionate about something because I'm a very passionate person. So
Right.
I fell in love the minute even went to that game. And then when I went to campus, it was amazing. And then it just so happened that they had the biggest broadcast production.
Mhm.
They had 81 students. The next biggest school was Florida, I think, and they had 8. So
Oh my
it was
goodness.
amazing opportunity to work with SEC Network and ESPN
Yeah.
when I was like, what, 17 years. I went to college when I was 17. So when I was 17 years old, and I just couldn't believe that I had fallen into this just because I fell in love with Texas A&M, and M,
Yeah.
and it all just started just snowballing into this incredible experience that I wouldn't have had at any other school. So I was very, very blessed.
So any idea why they had 81 versus 8?
They definitely had the money for it.
Okay.
Our alumni just throw money at the sports department to the point where the athletic director was like, "I don't know what to do with all of this, so here, let's build a studio."
Yeah.
So they built us the most insane studio for production for all of the sports, SEC Network, and so ESPN
Mhm.
would come to campus, and they were so jealous because our studio was way better than theirs, and our
Yeah.
like electronics and our technology was just through the roof because the alumni wanted it that way. They
Yeah.
wanted everything to be top notch for Texas A&M. So
I know
it
a
was,
few Texas A&M fans,
oh
and
yeah.
my goodness gracious, they are so passionate about Texas A&M.
It's
It's
crazy.
yeah,
Yep.
it's cool though. I mean, it's awesome. So so in college, you earn your bachelor's degree in what's your major? What's your
I was sport management.
okay.
I wanted to do journalism, but I did not want to do the math classes. They had like weird math classes and stuff. I'm not good at math at all. I
Yeah.
numbers intertwine to me. I'm like, no, can't do
Yeah.
it. So I went with sports management, got to learn a lot about the law and everything like that, which was really cool for me. But I knew I was going to be in sports broadcast. So really, I was just going to get a degree and work for SEC Network.
I got you. So you were headed to SEC Network either way.
Oh yeah, I was working. I was on camera, producing, doing the graphics. I mean, we did it all from top to bottom. So that was basically my education as I saw it.
Yeah.
We were getting paid minimum wage and working crazy hours, and every sporting event we worked, no matter what sport it was. And then I worked a lot with the football team, but it was an education in itself. I mean, I learned more there than I did in the classrooms.
So what's the single most important thing you learned in your time at Texas A&M?
I would say, and it's something that I still believe is the most important thing in life, is relationship building and how important it is to treat everyone like a person and build those relationships and keep in contact. I was head of whenever the NFL players would come back because they knew I could handle being around NFL players and not being weird. So they always sent me to get the alumni take care of them on game day, make sure they had everything they needed, get them to on camera on time, get them mic'd up and everything. So I was kind of like the NFL handler on game days, which was awesome because then I just got to stand on the sideline the whole game and not do much. So it was lovely. But I built those relationships then, and it was amazing in the long run because I mean, it was Von Miller, it was Mike Evans, it was all these
Mhm.
guys that were huge in the NFL. So when I got out of college, I had all these friendships around the NFL already, which I already did, I guess, from my family. But now these were ones that I made up myself, like by
Yeah.
myself. So
Right.
it felt different. It felt like I was introducing my dad to them, and
Yeah.
Von Miller got to the Bills, and I was like, "Oh, Dad, this is my guy."
Yeah.
So it was a cool experience to have that for myself.
That's gotta feel like a tiny world, right? Your dad's coaching offensive line for the Bills, and then Von Miller, who you dealt with at Texas A&M, ends up over there. That's
Exactly.
and your dad also coached for the Bucks where Mike Evans plays,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
long time ago. John Gruden days at the Bucks, but yeah, he's been in the NFL since 1999. So we've been around to a lot of teams. It was
Yeah,
really fun to see.
that's really cool. So, after Texas A&M, you go to work for the SEC network, and
I actually
you're
went out to Los Angeles
oh,
and
sorry,
worked.
I apologize.
No,
Okay, back up.
I,
So let me go back. So
yeah,
so actually you graduate from Texas A&M and you go to LA.
yep, I did.
Okay.
I had always told my parents I wanted to move to LA. They said, no, you're not moving to LA. And then I
I
was
love
graduating in
this.
I was graduating in August, and in March I got a phone call from my parents that said, "We got a job with the Rams, and so did your brother." And I said, "Great, I'm moving home to LA now."
Oh,
So moved home, moved to their house in
yeah,
LA. I told them to get a house big enough for me to have a bedroom because
right,
obviously was not didn't have any money under my belt to afford anything in LA at the
right,
time.
yeah, and it's
Um,
not affordable by any stretch.
no, no. And I moved out there and I started applying for jobs. It took me a lot longer to get a job than I thought it would.
Hmm.
So I explored and interviewed, just took my time to go interview the Rams players and keep my craft sharpened. And then I started working with Fox Sports for a couple years, NFL Network for years. Did a lot of internships with the Rams and everything else. So it
So when
was
you were interviewing the Rams players and you were putting applications in, who were you interviewing them for?
myself, I was a go-getter. I took
Oh,
my phone out there, I had a little microphone in hand
yeah,
that literally connected to my phone, and I
right.
would just upload them to YouTube, and I just used it as my demo reel so I
I
could send
love it.
things out to people so they knew that I was still trying really hard.
Right. I love
Um,
that. That's
I was
awesome.
I was not stopping. I didn't take no for an answer. If you weren't gonna give me a job, I wasn't gonna stop. I was just
Good for
gonna
you.
keep going and figure out a way to get one, so it
So how
worked
did
out.
you ultimately end up landing at Fox?
Just through connections, people we knew, someone in the at the top, he was Jacob Ullman. He's amazing and a friend of a friend.
Mhm.
So I got an interview that way and I started as a production assistant. I was
That's cool.
working baseball and Mac football and like all of these crazy golf and soccer at 5 in the morning.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I didn't say no to an opportunity. I was just like, "Yep, let's go. I'm gonna do this and get my foot in the door at Fox." And then ultimately a job opened up at NFL Network, and that was my dream. So I was like, I'm there.
That's
So
so
I
cool.
started producing videos for them and working my way on camera. And then COVID hit and I left. I was working like on camera for smaller networks and while I was producing at NFL Network and working my way up to being on camera at NFL Network. And
Mhm.
then COVID happened. I moved to my parents' beach house here on 30A in Florida and I can't sit still.
Yeah.
So I started shadowing my friend in real estate and I fell in absolute love. It was over at that point. I was like, "You know what? I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing." And then I got all my networks that I was working
Mhm.
for, that I was on camera for, the Draft Network and FTN
Mhm.
Network. They all let me do everything from a studio at home, just like this. And
Awesome.
so I set up my studio and worked from here while I was getting into real estate. So I had some steady income. And then once real estate kicked off, now I only do one show still on Sunday mornings before NFL games. And I do player prop bets just because I'm going to place the bet anyways. So why not go on camera and share them? So
Oh, I got you.
it's
So
fun.
So the one you do on Sunday morning, what's that? Who's that for and what's it about?
It's on FTN Network,
Okay.
partnership with DraftKings, and we give player props for each game. So
Oh,
we'll say we think this quarterback's going to throw this many yards and this running back's going to run this many yards, and we strategically line them up together to where it makes sense for each pick and each.
mhm.
We win a lot, and it's really fun. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's a good time. It keeps me giving me that creative freedom, and
Yeah.
obviously, I still pay attention to football as if I was a reporter because I'm obsessed. It's like a sickness how obsessed I am with the NFL. So it's a beautiful thing to like, just keep it going and gives my dad and I something to chat about all the time. I'm
Oh,
always
sure.
picking his brain about what players he's liking and all of that. So it's really fun.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So I have to ask you this, and I know it has nothing to do with you. I know, I get it. Okay. You're my subject, you're my
Okay.
agenda. I just have to ask.
Yes,
So your dad and his team are so close,
I know.
so close.
So close. This is
This
our
has
year.
got to be this has got to be quite a roller coaster for you all.
Yeah. It always is.
Yeah.
We've been close a lot in this lifetime.
Yeah.
We were with the Tuck Rule, we were with the Raiders, we were at that game, the
Oh
Tuck
my
Rule
goodness
happened and
gracious.
could have gone to the Super Bowl that year. And we
Ugh,
did go to the Super Bowl 37 with the Raiders against the Bucks, but John Gruden had just left the
mhm.
Raiders to go to the Bucks.
I remember
Al
that.
Davis said, "Nope, y'all are all staying under contract at the Raiders." So he kicked our butt in that Super Bowl. So
Mhm.
another time that we were that close to winning. And then we did go to the Bucks with John Gruden and went to the playoffs for 3 years straight and always lost. I mean, it was like just that close again.
Mhm.
Then we go and we reunite with Sean Payton. My dad got Sean one of his first college jobs at Miami of Ohio back in the day. So we've been best friends with them. His daughter's my best friend. We all grew up together. So we finally were reconnecting with them. And then my godfather's actually was the strength coach of the Saints at the time.
Oh
So
my
it was like a
gosh.
family.
Oh
And that's
yeah.
when we won the Super Bowl. When you feel like a family on a team,
Yeah.
it's different. And
It
you
is.
have that feeling all year long. You're looking around, you're like, we're going to win it. I mean, there's no denying that chemistry when you have that on a team.
Mhm.
And we kind of had that at the Rams a little bit. We went to the Super Bowl. My brother won the Super Bowl with them. Um, and then my dad now with with the Bills, and it feels definitely like the family. I
Yeah.
mean, they were all down here this off season hanging out with us on the beach. I mean, what players want to come hang out with their coach in the off
Mhm.
season? But they all wanted to come down here and hang out with them and buy houses, and it's crazy. I'm like, what a special connection that they've built where
Yeah.
they're together for what 17 hours a day for 7 months out of the year, and then they have 5 weeks off, like fully off,
Mhm.
and they came down and hung out with us. It was
Yeah.
the craziest thing. And I even sat down at one point, we were all drinking wine around the table, and I looked at him and I was like, "This is really special. Like
Mhm.
you don't get this every day in the NFL."
Yeah.
So, just that feeling alone, I mean, I can't see this season ending any other way other than the Bills in the Super Bowl. And hopefully my Rams are on the other side so it can be a nice little Kromer bowl and my brother and dad will be playing against each
So
other, and that would
is your
be
brother still coaching for the Rams?
yep, he's
Oh my
still
gosh.
there. My dad's with the Bills, so it could happen. We'll
That's
see.
that's so cool. That's so
But
cool.
I think it's the year of the Bills to win the Super Bowl for
I hope
sure.
it is. They seem like they're very close. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I haven't seen them on the beach in Florida, but it seems like they're very close. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
In terms of
it's
what I've
special.
seen. Yeah,
It's
really
really
special.
special. Even Friday nights before the home games, because I go to a lot of the home games,
Yeah.
just to have that family time. And
Sure.
um, on Friday nights before the games, we'll go over and have a pizza night at one of the offensive linemen's house.
Yeah.
And all the linemen, the tight ends, the quarterback, all of their families are all sitting there together having pizza. They even invite my dad, who's a coach, and like that's unheard of.
Yeah.
No player wants to hang out with their coach a couple nights before the game. So it's just so special. And also like in Buffalo, I mean, what else are we gonna do
Yeah.
other than all hang out together? That's just the community that Buffalo is.
Yeah.
Everyone is just really incredible people and give you the shirt off their back. And it's a lot like New Orleans in that way, where the people are just salt of the earth. They want to
Yeah.
help you. They're good people. So I just feel it. I want it for the team. I want it for the community. And these guys, I mean, they're a family. How cool it is to win a Super Bowl as a family. There's no experience like it.
So, what's it like to have a dad who has an offensive line that wants to come down to Florida and hang out with him the 5 weeks that they're off?
It's fantastic. There's
I
a
mean,
lot
that's
of
gotta be just
it's special.
it's yeah, it's not normal is what I'm saying,
It's
right?
special. He
It's
gets
just
emotional a
yeah,
lot about it. I think we all do because it's just they're truly a family. I mean,
yeah,
these guys, I could call on them at any time and they would be here in a minute to help
yeah,
me. Like it's and I'm the daughter, like I'm not even there all the time. That's
yeah.
how close we all are. And it's really special. The wives have all become my best friends. When I go up to the Bills games, they invite me to all the wives events. They expect me to come.
Mhm,
If they have an event coming up, they're like, "Hey, you're gonna fly in for this because your name's on it." Like,
mhm,
it's just really special. You don't get that at every organization.
yeah,
We definitely have not experienced that at every organization.
yeah,
And I think it starts with the ownership and comes down all the way, it trickles down.
yeah.
The owners, the Pagulas, Terry and Kim, they're incredible people. The GM is amazing. His wife is one of our best friends. So it's like they've built it, It was years in the making and now it's really, really clicking and it's all coming to fruition. And it's really special.
It's why that mafia is diving off of stuff to
Yeah,
fall onto to leave to throw themselves onto tables, right? And, you know,
exactly.
in
They're in.
sub-degree weather and, right?
They're
Sub-zero weather.
drinking the Kool-Aid. They're in.
Exactly, right? So, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about 30A, which is something that I shared with you. I actually had to look up before we got on before we got on here together, and it's a really, really special place that you're gonna wanna hear about. We'll be right back. Did you know there's an app that has no side effects that allows you to use sound waves to tell your brain what you want it to do? It's called newcalm.com and it's amazing. It literally uses sound waves. If you want to tell your brain to go to sleep, if you want to tell your brain to recover, if you want to tell your brain to put you in peak physical state, if you want to tell your brain to focus, if you want to tell your brain to take a power nap, you can do all of these things and more with newcalm.com. Go to newcalm.com today, promo code Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go there today. And we're back with Brooke Kromer. We're talking about, or have been talking about, her life and basically where you've come from, what you've experienced, that kind of, I mean, it's an amazing story. And I love the fact that when you got to LA, you were like, I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm just going to figure this out. Right. And you just kept working and said yes to every assignment. I mean, that is just, I just absolutely love your story. Then you go to Florida to go hang out. Did you say it was with a friend of yours?
It was COVID. I was leaving LA during COVID because it
Yeah.
was so crazy, and my family has always had a beach home on 30A, or for a lot of years now. We found it when we were with the Saints, I believe, because it was such a short drive over here. It's like 4
Yeah.
hours from New Orleans from here. So, I just came here to get away from LA. It was too crazy there, and Florida was wide open. I would sit on ESPN Women's Summits every day on my laptop and just try and stay in it, try and keep networking. I mean, I never stopped. I was really, really in it. Then I was like, you know what? I don't know why I'm sitting here. I realized that in the broadcast world, I'm sure a lot of places are like this. I mean, your whole career is riding on whether this man at the top wants to give you this job or not.
Mhm.
It's very, I mean, there's no like stats to be like, yes, I'm this good. I deserve this job.
Yeah.
And I am the type that I need to take my life and my career by the horns and go
Mhm.
with it. I can't stand relying on other people.
Mhm.
So I just kind of had a breakdown during COVID and I was like, am I really just going to keep doing this and just keep hoping that like, yeah, this is my moment. And then it goes to someone else for some
Mhm.
political reason. And this is my moment. And then it goes to someone else for some other reason. And
Mhm.
so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go shadow my friend in real estate. I'm going to reach out to her tomorrow. The next morning I wake up to a text from my friend saying that I was going to text, but I hadn't yet. And she was like, "Hey, I want you to come check out this house I'm just about to list. My friend just redid it." And I was like, I just burst into tears. I was like, if this is not God telling me to like go for this, like that's so crazy. It was just wild that she had texted me and I was about to text her that day. So I was like, all right, I'm going to just ask her if I could just shadow her for this
Mhm.
summer. So she was like, "Oh my God, please. Like, that sounds so much fun." And she knew that I knew so many people down here. So it was only going to help her business because I
Yeah.
was going to bring business. So I started shadowing her and I fell in love and I was actually really good at it. And she was like, "You need to get your license. Like,
Yeah.
whether you go back to NFL Network or not after COVID ends, you can still be referring me people that are here and you can still make money." And I'm like, all right, that sounds great.
Mhm.
And then I get my first paycheck after I had sold a house to my friends. And it was 3 times what I was making working 3 jobs in LA for
Mhm.
sports broadcast. And I
Yeah.
looked at the check and I was just like, I'm sold. This
Yeah.
is amazing. Like, I can make my own schedule. I can go to my dad's games. I can go to my brother's games. I can watch my nephews grow up. Like all of these things that you can't do when you're in sports reporting because you don't have control of your schedule at all.
Correct.
Or
Yeah,
if
they
there's
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
like 7 months out of the year, just like my dad and brother, I was in the studio working my
Mhm.
butt off for no money and just trying to make it. And I was like, you
Mhm.
know what? I can't do that anymore. So I got into real estate, got on their team, started crushing it, made my own team. Now I have my own real estate team. And I'm just absolutely in love with the leadership part of it, building a team, because it
Mhm.
feels like something I've been trained to do my whole life. I've watched my dad build countless teams into success. So he's given me all of these guidelines and all of these, success paths that I could take. And I was like, all right, it just makes sense for me.
Yeah.
So it's really cool how real estate just explodes into all of these different opportunities. Because then when I figured out I need to start marketing to the NFL,
Mhm.
my business just took another turn. It was
Mhm.
wild. I mean, I started going up to training camps and just being really intentional about talking to any of the guys that might know about 30A or
Mhm.
had vacationed on 30A before or were from the South and probably have driven down here for a spring break. And the sales just started piling up. And then, of course, my dad goes into a meeting and has his Ring doorbell on. They have a house on the water and he's got a Ring camera facing the water. And it's snowing in Buffalo in the middle of December. And he's like, "Look how beautiful the beach is." And
Mhm.
I just got so many phone calls after that. Everyone's like, "Yeah, I need to go there."
Mhm.
So, and that just kind of spiraled into them all coming down here and hanging out. And now it already felt like a NFL fraternity down here, but now it's even more. It's just so special that these guys can come down here, have a break, but still get to talk football because that's their lives. That's what they
Mhm.
love. And just not talk as much the X's and O's, but the chemistry.
Yeah.
And it builds so much. It's so special.
Well, you've learned a lot growing up with your dad being the leader that he is. I mean, perfect example, right? Like we just talked about, they came down for the 5 weeks, and of all the places in the world they could be, and they could be anywhere in the world that they wanted, they were focused on being there. And
Right.
I mean, that says a ton about what your dad is as a leader, right?
Yep.
And now you have an opportunity to be a leader. And from everything that you've learned from him, it's got to be really special.
It is. Yeah. I think the number one thing I learned from him was get people around you that are better than you at something else
Yeah.
that you're not going to be good at. So my whole team is people that specialize in something completely different.
Yeah.
I kind of hold down the fort for NFL and entertainment and investment properties for people I know. And then I have a person on my team that does all the rental. She works for a rental management company as well. I have another girl that specializes in marketing. So it's all of these different, it's like building an offensive lineman. Like
Mhm.
you have to have everybody that's good at their craft
Yeah.
and that's going to make you better. And
Yeah.
that's how the
Totally
team
agree.
is going to be successful.
Yeah.
So it was fun to sit back and think like, okay, this is what I've seen my dad do. And, because you don't think about it every time that he's just being successful and building this crazy offensive line that becomes all of a sudden the number one offensive line in the league in a year.
Mhm.
That I just sat back and I was like, all right, this is what he did here. This is what he did here. And just kind of broke it down, kind of like watching tape, breaking down
Yeah,
tape. And I just kind of broke down over the years what he did and what was successful. And it's helped in real estate.
that's wild. So when COVID hit, my daughter was going to school in downtown Los Angeles,
Oh, wow.
and we had to go get her
Yeah, it was
because they
crazy.
shut everything down, and we had no clue in California when things were gonna open back up. You remember this.
It was
And we didn't have
crazy.
Florida to go to, right? We had come back from Florida, and so we had her in down in San Diego with us at our house for 60 days. And you learn a great deal about your child when you're in the same house with them for 60 days and nobody has anything to do. Nobody has anywhere to go. Everything's shut down, the gyms are closed, everything's closed. If you went to the beach here, you landed in jail.
Wow.
They took people to jail for going to the beach here. I'm not
It
joking.
was
And
crazy.
it was
I remember
surreal.
it.
It was one
Yeah.
of the craziest things ever. And the fact that you have spent the time that you've spent and the effort that you've put in, and you're in this business where there's this media business where there's no safety net, there's no stability, right? It's just you're just
Mhm.
going and you're going and you're going and you want to do this and you're doing all these things to get there. It's gotta be exhausting. It's gotta be you had to have been at a place where you're like, "Okay, if I keep doing this, I'm gonna burn out," right? Then you go to
Right.
30A, hang out at your family's place, right? Which I totally get. I mean, you needed that escape. You needed to
Yeah.
kinda recharge. You're thinking about your friend. You're gonna text your friend the next morning, she beat you to it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, think about this, man. This is cool.
It's crazy.
So let's take just a second, if it's okay, and talk about what is 30A. I mean, I know what it is because I looked it up, but I want you to tell us what 30A is.
30A is, I mean, it is heaven in America. If
Mhm,
you look at the pictures, you don't think it's America. It looks like certain parts look like Europe, some parts look like the Mediterranean.
mhm,
There's different architecture for every town. So it's a
mhm,
21-mile stretch of scenic route 30A. That's
mhm,
the highway name. And it's 21 miles of beach, white sand, the clearest water you've seen. It changes. So right along the shore, it's really clear. Then we
mhm,
have this channel of darkness, and then we
mhm,
have this amazing sandbar out there that's clear again. So one of the towns is called Watercolor because
mhm,
there are so many different colors in our water as it backs up. It is one of the most stunning things, even living here. I've lived here for 5, going on 6 years now. It is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I mean, if you have a
mhm.
bad day, you go out to the beach, you're not having a bad day anymore.
Yeah.
It's God's creation. It is like pristine, and our water will get completely flat and the dolphins will go through, and
Mhm,
sea turtles every day. I mean, if you go out there paddleboarding, you will see all the sea life. So you feel like you're not even in America. You feel like you're in the Caribbean. And
mhm,
here we are in driving distance to Atlanta, New Orleans. So all of these southeastern states drive down to our area,
mhm,
and they'll come in the masses. So, like spring break, all of
mhm,
Nashville comes to our area, and then all of Atlanta comes to our area. And like they come in waves. It's really special, but the towns are broken up into these small little towns, like Rosemary Beach, Alice Beach, Seacrest Beach, Seagrove, Kaya, all the way down to Grayton Beach and Blue Mountain Beach. And they're also different.
mhm,
Rosemary Beach is a European New Orleans style. So there's gas lanterns everywhere and the balconies everywhere. You walk down this paved like street and it doesn't look real. It looks like a fairy tale. It looks like
mhm,
like a Hallmark movie. Alice Beach looks like Greece. It's all white stucco with the paver grounds and perfectly manicured landscaping. So it's luxury at its finest in the South. And we're Florida, but
mhm,
we're we're basically like we're at the bottom of Alabama. Like
mhm,
people always ask like, "Oh, are you near Miami?" No, we're 10 hours from Miami. We're very far. And we are a quiet, peaceful beach town. There's not too much nightlife. It's grown a little bit. Like there's a couple places that stay open late now just because there are some people that come that want to get a late night drink. But most everything closes down at 10 o'clock. It's just a sweet little area. You get up in the morning and go for a run, and everyone's out exercising. It's like a health and wellness, beautiful, peaceful area. The real estate is insane. I can find some condos for 500,000. Most of them are going to start around a million,
Mm.
go up to 25 million for a big old house on the water,
Yeah.
private beach, all of that. So it's special. We have a ton of NFL players, coaches, college coaches, head coaches. Um, all the country music stars come here because it's really easy to get to from Nashville. So they all have homes here. So it's just this little area of peace that big CEOs, business owners of companies, you can all just come here and just relax.
Yeah.
And there's busy parts. You can go to the busy part and have lively areas, or you can go to the quieter part of town and get your peace. And so there's a spot for everyone down here as well, which I love. And there is so much real estate in that investment area from like a million to 2 million. So there is like that area where you can get in and you can get an Airbnb and invest, but also live the 30A lifestyle. So that's what I love to say, is that there is a place for everyone down here. You don't have to be the ultra wealthy, but they're down here. So
Yeah.
you're rubbing shoulders with some of the most impressive people in America. I've met, gosh, like so many incredible humans just sitting at the bar, striking up a conversation over a martini. Like
Yeah.
it's really a special place, and it's opened my eyes to I mean, just luxury and all of this wealth that's in America that's crazy, but these people are doing good with it. So it's fun. It's a beautiful area.
That's cool. So if somebody's thinking about investing in 30A, and let's just say, I mean, let's just say that it's somebody that, they have a little bit extra money, and they've been thinking for a while about getting somewhere that's, let's say, tropical, right? Let's say there's somewhere in the US that's not. I mean, obviously in San Diego we're tropical, right?
Yeah.
Mediterranean type, climate. So let's say somebody is somewhere other than Florida, and they're thinking, or even in Florida, and they're thinking about getting somewhere that feels tropical like this. Like, say if somebody called you today and they said, "Hey, we're looking to buy a second home, or we're looking to invest." What does that process look like for you?
Yep. I figure out their exact needs, because there's so many different places down here,
Mm.
where exactly you want to be, what your return on investment needs to be. No matter what price range, I work with everyone. So please give me a call
Yeah.
and we'll work through it. We get the cost to own, rental projections. I'll get insurance quotes. I'll get the taxes that were paid last year, run the numbers, look it over, make sure it's going to make sense
Yeah.
for you, for what you need. Now, some of these are not going to be, just the cash is rolling in. You're buying into this lifestyle on
Yeah.
30A. So you get a beach home that when you're not using it, it's going to be rented out. Basically, most of your mortgage, if not all of your mortgage, should be covered by those rental revenue, maintenance fees, and all of that. And then you get to enjoy the 30A lifestyle. So I sell to a lot of people that want to buy into the lifestyle, that want to be down here, but also need the rental revenue to cover their expenses. So basically, you're getting a free vacation out of it, and you have a home and you have an asset that's appreciating over time, typically in our market very quickly.
Yeah.
Before COVID, and it was like normal for homes to appreciate by 10% in a year. During COVID, that skyrocketed to insane numbers. Anyone that sold during COVID was just laughing their way to the bank.
Mhm.
Anyone that bought during COVID and is now trying to sell, it's just different because our market skyrocketed so much with all the
Yeah.
New Yorkers and Californians wanting to come and purchase here because they couldn't purchase in their states because everything was shut down.
Yeah.
So everyone came to Florida, and now they're realizing I don't come down as much as I want to. I'm going back to my normal place in New York or my San Diego or something like that. So now those people are trying to sell, and our market hasn't gone up that much because they inflated it so much.
Right.
So now we're getting back to this amazing buyer's market. And I am telling anyone, if you want to invest in 30A, now is the time to do so. I am getting people like insane deals on these
Mhm.
properties because I know what's selling and I know what's not. So
Mhm.
if you want something that's not selling, you're going to get a deal because
Yeah.
I'm going to go in there and I'm going to tell this seller, like, hey, take our offer, do what we want, or go test the market again. And your house
Mhm.
is going to sit for what, months up to a year? Good luck.
Yeah.
So I am like, all of my buyers are thrilled right now because they're getting amazing deals. Insurance in our area is not as bad as everyone's making it out to be in Florida right now. I'm able to get great quotes. Um, and it's especially with tax advantages right now after the big beautiful bill, you can get insane. I mean, 100% depreciation on any work you put into a house right now. You can get 20% on any investment property you purchase. So there's just, I mean, amazing tax advantages right now as well. So I'm having so much fun in this market. I mean, we have 13 and a half months of inventory, which is ridiculously way too much. But I work with a lot of buyers. So I'm having a ball. I'm just throwing numbers and getting them deals. And it's been so much fun.
Yeah. So can we talk about that for a second? Just because there's in when interest rates go up and we have sort of this hangover effect that took place from COVID, there are opportunities that you won't see for years, right?
Right.
That are happening right now.
Hmm.
And what happens is people aren't, when people are thinking about buying a place, they're not quite sure how to respond to a market like what we have. You've been doing this long enough, and certainly I've been doing this for 33 years. I've seen ebbs and flows and shifts in market. And what's interesting is the people that purchased homes back when we had the Great Recession, right? The people that purchased homes right after the Great Recession when everything dropped in terms of values and that type of thing, those people are incredibly happy.
Yes.
I did my first television interview on the real estate side in San Diego in 2011. And the producer of the morning show that invited me on walked me out to my car afterwards. And he said, "Hey, Mike, my wife and I are thinking about buying a place, and every single person is telling us not to." He said, "You were just on our air, and I specifically heard you say that the best advice for," because the anchor asked me, he said, "Best advice for a seller, best advice for a buyer." He said, "I heard you say the best advice for a buyer is if you can buy now." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What?" I said, "Well," I said, "I've been doing this a long time, right?" And I said, "And this is a market that is going to recover. Right now, you have a pendulum effect. You have all of this pent-up demand that happened. You had all this ease of lending guidelines that happened, and you had this massive run-up. Now you have an adjustment that's happening. There's a correction taking place. And what we're seeing values drop." But I said, "We'll know 6 months after we hit the bottom of the market that we actually hit the bottom of the market." So my feeling is exactly what I just told your viewers and your anchor. I believe that right now is the time to buy if you can. And he said, "Well, why is everybody telling me no?" And I said, "Well, let me just see if I can explain this to you. Okay. People move in herds. They move together, right? Warren Buffett once said, "I don't know what the American people are going to do, but they're all going to do it at the same time in the same
Right.
direction." He also said famously that he likes to be conservative when everybody else is being greedy, and he likes to be greedy when everybody else is being conservative. Right now is a time when everybody's being conservative, right? Right now is the time to buy. Why?
Right.
Because there's an opportunity to do this now. There may not be this opportunity in the not too distant future. Okay. Interest rates are going to come down. Everybody's going to get back in. When everybody gets back in, you're going to have 20, 30, 40 offers on a property, especially if it's a nice one. Right. And the people who are going to win are the sellers. The people who are going to lose are the buyers. Okay.
Exactly.
Right now is the time for a buyer to get in, just like when 2011 hit. Now, just so you know, that same producer is one of my best friends to this day. And a couple of years ago called me and he said, I'm calling you to tell you something because I was talking to my wife last night and she told me to call you. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, I just wanted to, on behalf of me and my wife, I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I said, okay, what's up? And he goes, well, he said, when we bought that first, he said, everybody was telling us not to buy. We bought. And he said, and the best we can figure is because we bought when we did, we made an extra $200,000 on our place. And Mike, we don't make a lot of money, right? But when COVID hit, his wife's employer came to him and said, you'll never work in an office with us ever again. You'll work remote for the rest of your career with us. Well, guess what? They had children that were growing. They had no room in that house for an office for her. And she was going to be working 9 to 5 every day, probably 8 to 5, probably, right? 8 to 6, whatever. She was going to be working every day full time plus out of their house. And so they started looking at real estate and they found a place and they bought it and they're happy and it has an office for her, right? And they're laying in bed the night before and she said, you need to call Mike tomorrow and thank him.
Oh, I love it.
Because we would not have had this if he
Yeah,
hadn't given us that advice all those years ago. Okay. I mean, we're talking 13 years, right?
right.
But
Think
here's
about the
the
appreciation on that in
exactly.
13 years.
It was a market very similar to what we're seeing today. Okay.
Exactly.
And I just wanted to point that out to people. I wanted people to understand that you're having a lot of fun with this, which you should, because you're able to help people in a way that you haven't been able to do in years.
Exactly.
Okay. And that's the cool thing because one
Yep.
of these days, those same people are going to be calling you and going, hey, thanks.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You
It's
helped us send
crazy.
our kid to college. You helped us turn this financial situation around. You helped us with XYZ. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the thing that I wanted people to understand because people who have been in the market we were in a couple of years ago when interest rates were 3%, there were 20, 30, 40, 50, right? They did a news story out here that they had me be a part of. I put them together with one of my buyers, 62 offers on one house that they put an offer in on.
Oh my God.
Okay. I thought I had heard the maximum 62 offers. Now, those people ended up buying a place and they're very, very happy, right? The thing is, if you can avoid that kind of overactivity or over exuberance or irrational exuberance, whatever you want to call it, if you can avoid that, do it. Okay. So if you can buy now is really a very, very good time to buy it. It sounds like it's a very good time to buy in 30A.
It absolutely is. Yep. This house that is about to close in 2 weeks, it was listed 3 years ago for $7.5 million. It was on the market for those 3 years, just off and on, just trying. Not much was moving in that price range for those couple years. And I just got it under contract. It was listed at then, now it's dropped to 5.3. And I just got it under contract right under 5.1. And like all repairs paid for and everything, like it's going to be like a brand new house. And now, like looking back, if someone had bought it for 7.5 million 3 years ago, so now think once these interest rates come down, the prices go up in our area as
Exactly.
soon as the interest rates go down because the buyers come back, like you said.
Right.
These people are going to have so much equity in this house right away
Yeah.
as soon as those interest rates come down. And it just brings me so much joy because they have a baby. They're
Mhm.
just like, young in their career. And I'm like, how cool is this that they have this insane asset and investment and they're going to rent it out when they're not using it. So they're going to make money off of it anyways. It's just so cool. It brings me joy to like get these people what they're getting right now. And that's why, I mean, if you look at my Instagram, it is all like people will come up to me and be like, it's a buyer's market on 30A, isn't it? And I'm like, well, at least I got the point across because yes, it is. And I would really like anybody that's on the fence right now to pull the trigger. And I don't want anyone to miss out. That's why I'm so adamant about it on my Instagram. Like, I'm not trying to come off all salesy. I just
No.
really want to help my people. I want to help my friends, the people that follow me,
Yeah.
to make the right decision and purchase right now. Because I mean, even on a new build out here, I'm getting I'm getting incentives. Like I'm getting like credit at closing, and you're paying off all your closing costs with the credit that the seller's giving you, or you
Hmm.
can buy down your rate. A lot of people, I'm just saying, pay the rate now and refinance when they come down in a year. Like it's so much fun to play with all these different things too, especially now with the tax advantages that came out. It's like
Exactly.
this is a no-brainer to buy an Airbnb or a short-term rental right now. It's cool. It's a really special place we're in right now for buyers.
I know you're not in the tax business, and I know you're not a tax expert,
Mhm.
but can you take just a second, just for our listeners, and talk about the tax advantages that just came out from this big, beautiful bill?
Absolutely. So if you can get a short-term rental property right now and consider it a business instead of a second home, meaning you're renting it out more than you're going to stay there. There's a certain number of days.
Right.
Um, and down here, you'll do that. They will rent that many days. You can get 20% of that purchase price to use against your taxes. So, like, that's cutting your taxes right there. Huge
Yeah.
tax advantage. Any work you do onto the property, so new furniture, I mean, if you're fixing a door hinge or anything, that can all be 100% depreciated.
Mhm.
So any work you do onto your rental property, 100% depreciation. I mean, this is insane tax advantages, especially for people that are making or you have to pay six figures of taxes. Think about all of this you could write off. You could write it off all. And then it can overflow into the next year if you don't defer it all this year. So if you could pay no taxes this year, and then it could even help you next year.
Yeah.
So really, really cool situation for all of my buyers right now that I am thrilled about, and all of my buyers are taking advantage of. And if you purchased in the last couple of years and you haven't done this yet, you can still do it. The 100% depreciation, I believe, has to be within the same year that you bought
Mhm.
it. But you can cost segregate.
Mhm.
There's all of these different ways. So talk to your tax advisor and tell them your situation. Make sure it's in a business and not as your second home. And if you're buying, make sure you do it as a business and not your second home,
Yeah.
because all these tax advantages, they could save you so much money, especially my athletes who are having to pay taxes in every state they play a game in.
Yeah.
Every state. This is saving them tons of money. So that's why I had so many athletes coming down this year, because they're like, whoa, this is big time. And then, they're going to rent it out while they're playing football all year. So it's easy. It's a no brainer, especially if you have a lot of taxes built up. Come on down here and buy a beach house. And you have a beach house to use too. What's cooler than
Mhm.
that? You get all the advantages in life.
Yeah. So it's sort of a combination, right? So you have this market that has a ton of opportunity. You have a tax incentive now that you didn't have before. And by the way, the idea behind this big beautiful bill and this tax incentive is to incentivize people to buy commercial real estate. So that's
Mhm.
why you're talking about putting it in a business name and making it a business. So it's an investment property, not a second home. Second home is considered owner occupied, right?
Yep,
And so it's a
exactly.
completely different deal. And there aren't as many incentives for owner occupied second homes as there are for commercial real estate right now, because
Right,
commercial real estate got hammered. Okay, they got hammered in COVID. A bunch of these office buildings are empty. They're just sitting empty
right,
because people went home and they stayed home. Right? And a lot of these
exactly.
companies prefer to keep them there because their brick and mortar expense went down. Why add to their brick and mortar expense if they're still operating efficiently and getting things done and doing well, right? So
Exactly.
it's a bottom line decision for them. And so all of a sudden you have this sector of the real estate economy that needs some incentive, and that's what you got from the big beautiful bill. So you have sort of this combination of these incentives that are now here, and you have a market that has a ton of opportunity. I don't think it gets any better than this.
It really doesn't.
I really don't,
It
right?
is like a dream down here
And
for
it's
a
an
buyer right
opportunity
now.
to, like you said, to own in paradise.
Right. you're buying into the lifestyle one, then you get
Absolutely.
all these tax advantages. You're getting in at a great price. You're going to watch your asset appreciate very quickly,
Yeah.
especially in our area, which I mean, our area in the luxury division, it is the first to go up. It's the first to go down. It's the first to take anything that the economy is feeling.
Yeah.
So as soon as these interest rates come down, you can expect our market to feel it first. We're going to be, I mean, these listings I have are going to be flying off the shelf,
Yeah.
and there's not going to be the opportunity that there is right now. So I would say, I mean, I don't foresee them coming down a ton at the end of this year. Maybe, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. But I think that this year, especially in the fall right now, as kids go back to school, we can get into properties easier, because that's another challenge in our area is everything is rented so solidly, which is great for the investors, but it's hard to get into the properties to show them.
Yeah.
So the fall is going to be an insanely amazing time to purchase down here. So if you have extra money laying around, you have to call me, because we will find you a great investment. And there are plenty of them to be had, especially if you're open to doing some work on a property, because that 100% depreciation is going to be amazing. And you're going to up the value of the property, and your rentals are going to be stronger.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win-win if you're willing to do a little bit of work, and I'll spearhead it. I'll help you with anything you need. So it's just fun. It's a fun time to be in real estate. I think a lot of people are hurting, but if you're playing it the right way, you can be very successful in this market.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. So, and it doesn't surprise me at all that you're looking at it from a positive can-do perspective, because that's sort of the way you were raised, and it's sort of the
Yep.
way you're built.
We're a
Okay.
little optimistic.
That's very cool. That's a very cool thing. So, if if somebody's considering buying, and they're looking in particular in the 30A area, even if they want to come down and visit and get like a tour, right? And sort of
Absolutely.
learn the lay of the land, they can get a hold of you at kromercollective.com, correct? It's Kromer. So
Yep.
KROMER collective.com, correct?
Correct.
Is that the best
Absolutely.
way to reach you?
Yes. Or you can find me on Instagram at Brooke Kromer, BrookKromer. I will answer any DMs. And you can take a look at what 30A has to offer. I fly my drone out here all the time. I'm posting pictures of the sea life and paddle boarding and just the lifestyle down here to show people how truly special it is.
Yeah, that's cool. Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap up?
I think we have covered the life and growing up and where we're at now.
Yeah.
I love to show people around here. So if you haven't been, come down to 30A, whether you're going to buy or not, reach out to me. Let's get connected. Let me show you around. Let me show you how great this area is. And you can buy whenever. However, I advise buying now. It's a great time. But if it's not the right time, at least come see what it's about, because
Yeah.
there's amazing investments to be had
It's
down
like a
here.
different world down there.
Exactly.
It really is.
Exactly.
And it's a cool place, and you don't have to leave the US to get there, right?
It's
And like you
amazing.
said, you feel like you're in Europe, you feel like you're in the Caribbean, you know?
Yep.
It's just awesome.
Exactly. Fly into the Panama City Beach Airport. We have tons of nonstops being added daily. We just added Miami, New York, Chicago year round now. It used to only be during certain times of the year. So our airport is growing, and it's easy to get to. And then we're 20 minutes from there. So you literally can't beat the access. There's private airports on both ends of us. So it's really nice. It's super easy to get to. So please come visit us and let me know.
Thank you for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I had fun too.
Can I ask you a question? Did you know that there's a technology that uses sound waves that'll tell your brain what to do? There literally is. It's called newcalm.com. It can tell your brain to heal, tell your brain to sleep, tell your brain to do all kinds of things. It can get you fired up. It can be a pre-workout. Newcalm.com. And the promo code is Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at the Mike Litton Experience.